False friends, the funniest mistakes in English. Hello, and welcome to today's episode of English with a Smile. I'm your host, and today we're diving into one of the funniest, most confusing, and surprisingly dangerous parts of learning English: false friends. No, I don't mean the type of friends who forget your birthday or eat all your pizza without asking. I'm talking about words that look like they mean something familiar in your language, but actually mean something completely different in English. They trick you, they embarrass you, and sometimes they even create hilarious misunderstandings. Imagine this. You're in New York. You go into a store and proudly ask, "Excuse me, where is magazine?" You expect the cashier to show you the way to the bread, milk, or maybe chocolate. But instead, she points you to Vogue, GQ, and National Geographic. Congratulations! You didn't ask for a shop, you asked for a journal. This is exactly what false friends do. They sound trustworthy, but they betray you at the worst possible moment. Today, we'll explore more than 20 of the most common false friends, tell stories about how learners have been fooled by them, and of course, laugh along the way. By the end of this episode, you'll not only know how to avoid these mistakes, but you'll also have funny stories to tell your friends. So grab your coffee, sit back, and let's get started. The false friends. 1. Magazine. Mistake. Many learners think magazine means a shop. Story. A tourist walks into a supermarket in London, asks, "Where is magazine?" and gets directed to Vogue and Cosmopolitan instead of bread and milk. The poor guy ends up eating glossy pages for dinner. Truth. Magazine equals journal. If you want a shop, say store or shop. 2. Fabric. Mistake. Many people think fabric means fabrica. Story. Imagine a student in the US saying, "My father works at a fabric." The teacher imagines the dad stitching curtains instead of managing a big factory. Truth. Fabric equals material, cloth. For fabrica, use factory. 3. Actual. Mistake. Learners think actual means aktualny. Story. A businessman stands at a meeting and declares, "This is our actual problem." His colleagues look confused. Wait, do we have imaginary problems too? Truth. Actual equals real. For aktualny, use relevant or current. 4. Eventually. Mistake. People think eventually has something to do with events. Story. A tourist says, "Eventually I'll go to the party." Everyone waits for him to arrive at the event, but he never comes. He meant finally, not at an event. Truth. Eventually equals finally, in the end. 5. Sympathy. Mistake. Learners confuse sympathy with sympatia. Story. A guy tells a girl, "I feel sympathy for you." Instead of romantic interest, he just offered his condolences. That date ended quickly. Truth. Sympathy equals compassion. For sympatia, use liking or attraction. 6. Preservative. Mistake. People think it means preservative. Story. Imagine saying at dinner, "This cake has no preservatives." Your Russian-speaking friend gasps, "Wow, I wasn't expecting condoms in cake anyway." Truth. Preservative equals additive to keep food fresh. For preservative, use condom. 7. Intelligent. Mistake. Learners think it means intelligentny. Story. Someone proudly says, "My grandfather is intelligent." Listeners imagine Einstein, but the speaker meant polite and cultured, not genius. Truth. Intelligent equals smart. For intelligentny, use cultured or well-mannered. 8. Novel. Mistake. People think novel just means novi. Story. A student says, "I bought a novel phone." The teacher wonders if the phone is a book. Truth. Novel equals book. As an adjective, it can mean new in the sense of innovative. 9. Artist. Mistake. Learners confuse it with artist. Story. You tell someone, "My brother is an artist." They imagine a painter with a beret, but you meant an actor on stage. Truth. Artist equals painter, visual creator. For artist, use performer or actor. Saintus Gymnasium. Mistake. Many think gymnasium is a normal school. Story. A Russian student says, "I studied in a gymnasium." Americans think, "Wow, so much sport." In reality, he studied literature, not push-ups. Truth. Gymnasium equals sports hall. For gymnasia, use specialized school or academic secondary school. 11th, chef. Mistake. Many learners think chef is just chef. Story. A guy says, "I'll call my chef." His American friends expect a cook, not a boss. Truth. Chef equals head cook. For chef, use boss or manager. 12. Parent. Mistake. Some learners think it means roditelski control or guardians in general. Story. My parents control me sounds like you're in a sci-fi movie. Truth. Parent equals mother or father. 13. Library. Mistake. People confuse it with librarium or bookstore. Story. A tourist enters a library, asks to buy a book. The librarian says, "Sorry, we don't sell, we lend." Truth. Library equals where you borrow books. For a store, say bookstore. 14. Controller. Mistake. Learners think it means controleur. Story. Someone says, "I'm a controller in my company." Listeners imagine him checking bus tickets. Truth. Controller equals financial officer or device. For controleur, use inspector. 15. Resume. Mistake. People think it means resume in the sense of summary only. Story. A student says, "Let me give you a resume of the book." Americans think, "Wait, are you applying for a job with this novel?" Truth. Resume, with accents, equals job CV. Resume without equals continue. 16. Complexion. Mistake. Learners think it means complexia. Story. Someone says, "He has a nice complexion." Listeners imagine a perfect body. In fact, they meant great skin. Truth. Complexion equals skin condition. For complexia, use build. 17. Sensitive. Mistake. Confused with sensazione. Story. This is a sensitive discovery. Scientists laugh. Yes, very emotional bacteria. Truth. Sensitive equals emotional, easily affected. For sensazione, use sensational. 18. Accurate. Mistake. Learners think it means accurately. Story. She is very accurate, someone says. Listeners think she's precise, not tidy. Truth. Accurate equals correct. For accurately, use neat or tidy. 19. Conserved. Mistake. People think it means conservировani. Story. This is conserved fish. Listeners imagine a fish carefully protected by Greenpeace, not canned tuna. Truth. Conserved equals preserved in general. For food, say canned. 20. Casual. Mistake. Confused with casualny or strange. Story. A student says, "It was a very casual accident." The teacher asks, "So, was the accident wearing jeans?" Truth. Casual equals relaxed, informal, not strange. Conclusion. And there you have it. 20 of the trickiest, funniest, and most misleading false friends in English. They look familiar, they smile at you like an old acquaintance, and then, bam, they embarrass you in front of strangers, friends, or even your date. But remember this, mistakes are not just mistakes, they're stories. Every time you confuse magazine with shop or sympathy with romance, you create a story that you'll never forget. And that's the secret of learning. If you laugh at your mistakes, you'll never repeat them again. So next time you hear a word that looks familiar, stop and think, is this a friend or a false friend? Congratulations! You are now actual experts in false friends. And yes, I do mean real experts. Thank you for listening to English with a Smile. Don't forget to laugh, learn, and share these stories with your friends. See you next time.